Afternoon, campers. The morning has passed, but I didn't know whether to call this video "Why I Don't Hate Anybody" or it's "Why I Don't Hate the Jews, the Muslims, the Christians, the Catholics, or anybody else that's different to what I look like." Haven't decided yet, but I do want to talk about this because it's been, it's very easy for people to say, "It's the Jews! It's the Jews! The Jews are doing everything." Same as it is to say, it's the Muslims, it's all the Muslims, what a bunch of Muslims. It's not. It isn't. They're not the enemy. When I say they're not the enemy, I don't mean like I'm positioning myself against them in any way. I mean, where do I start with this? It's important to get this point across because it is very easy to say, well, the majority of people in Congress people are, have dual citizenship with Israel. It's very easy to say, and correct to say that the Jewish people, the majority of people that own the media industry are Jewish, which is, on the surface correct. It's very easy to say that, all Muslims are terrible because of the Muslim rape gangs in the UK. Yeah, it is easy to, and also when you're trying to uncover the truth about the world, and there are people standing up like Tommy Robinson, for example. He's standing up and done monumental things in the UK for uncovering many, many issues. And then he gets called a Zionist. And throughout this, podcast journey that I've been on, I've been approached lots of times by people who've said, well, are you gonna stand up against this? Are you gonna stand up and tell the truth about it's the Jewish people or it's the Muslims or whatever? And there's a really good reason why I stay away from it. Because it's not the Jews, it's not the Muslims, it's not any ethnic group, any religious group. Well, it is a religious group, but it's not the ones you think it is. The Jews that have been destroying the world are not really Jewish. They are Khazarian mafia. They're Satanists. They're not Jewish at all. They pretend to be Jews. They use the Jews as a cloak of invisibility. The majority of Muslims that I've met are really nice people, and they're very nice. I like them. Are there some bad Muslims? Yeah. Are there Muslim rape gangs? Yeah. Or are there rape gangs that happen to be Muslim? What they've all got in common is it's not anything to do with the labels of their religion, their skin color, or anything else. It's that there are demonically possessed people within every aspect of society. And there are deliberate, much bigger control mechanisms going on that use identities like Muslims and Jews to protect themselves, in the same way that the transgender movement has hitched a ride on the coattails of the LGBT movement, which is a legitimate movement for rights for gay people and lesbian people, gay men and lesbians, but they've been hijacked in order for agendas that are being controlled by the puppet masters to proceed with minimal kind of interference because of people's fear of being called far right, fascist, Nazi, white supremacist, whatever label they decide to put on people. And if you fall into the trap, so it's the Jews or it's the Muslims or it's the gays, then you are falling into the divide and conquer strategy that has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. That's why I don't hate anybody unless they are demonically possessed satanic pedophiles, which is a large number of people in government, in the school system, in the police forces, in the military. These guys have infiltrated themselves throughout all the control systems, and this has been done for forever. They took over the royal families, they took over the banking system, they took over the media industry, they took over the medical industry. But the real enemy is not whatever they are showing themselves to be on the surface, because that's their protection, that's their ring of protection, that's their cloak of invisibility. It's not, we've got to be very careful about falling into that, because I love everybody human who wants to live in peace and harmony and do no harm on earth is somebody that I will support to the hilt. And we've got to watch falling into the hate traps, because it's nuanced. It's actually fairly simple once you understand it, but it is nuanced because you just get pulled into the argument, and that's the reason why I've never been pulled into those arguments. I mean, you can go deeper into this as well. Think about things like Israel, right, which is always a hot potato subject. Yeah, of course, those of us seeking the truth about the nature of reality and what's really going on in the world, of course we don't condone, or I certainly don't condone, the hurting of any children in any way, shape or form, whatever side anybody's on, or whatever side they purport to be on. But if you go and look up, there's a man called Jeffrey, can't remember his surname, he channels Saint Germain, but Adamus Saint Germain. His take on it is very interesting. He's basically saying this is an ancient war, which is really a battle between families that reincarnate and would not choose anything else other than to come down and continue this raging battle. And it's nothing to do with any of us, and there's nothing we can do about it anyway. That involves taking a bit of a leap, a big leap. But, just be careful about getting embroiled or caught in the web, because there's also millions of agents around the world that leave comments on videos like this, whose job it is to catch you and embroil you into the web, the same as a spider wants to catch a fly, and then wrap you up so that you can't move, so that you're constricted and seen to be on one side. Very few things about being a human being are black and white. We're in grey areas all the time. And what is actually happening worldwide with everything that's going on, from the UFO disclosure to what's going on in Israel to what's going on with Trump and medical interventions and all of it is, and what's going on in the UK and Ireland and Europe, it is all part of what I believe is an ascension process. I know. New Age crap again, Mark. Yeah. Actually, it's not New Age. It's kind of like the New Age is another trap. Somebody I met recently called it the new cage, which I thought was quite amusing. It's another trap, you see, because what the controllers, there's the puppeteer's hand again, have always done. They've always created limited hangouts. Catholicism is a limited hangout. I mean, the Roman Catholic Church is really a satanic organization. But they needed to control millions and millions of people with religion, so they create religion that's a limited hangout, so it doesn't tell you everything. That's why so many books of the Bible are missing. That's why most people have never read the Book of Enoch, for example. They take out all the bits that, but they create a limited hangout which is full of enough truth to convince people that this is a good thing to be part of or to be aligned with. And that's as old as the hills. And then when they have the limited hangout and the bread and circuses, and they've given you just enough. I mean, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, not humans having a spiritual experience. There's a flip that needs to be done in most people's understanding. And because we are spirits having a human experience, we have spiritual feelings and experiences and needs that get fulfilled by these snake oil salesmen that have been going around for centuries convincing us that they have the answers and that some guy in a pulpit is gonna give us what we want and fulfill our spiritual needs. But it's just another limited hangout. And Catholic Church is a great example of this. It's like the biggest one in history. And then the same with Islam. They're limited hangouts. And and people get born into these religions and get extremely devout. You know, I've lived as in a white minority in a Muslim country for nearly 4 years, and you know, Muslims are the same as everybody else. They just want to get on with their life, look after their family, eat, be happy, have a laugh. You know, you can't blame one entire. You can't use one label. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. So that's the reason why I might call this. It's not the Jews. It's not the Muslims. It's Satan. It's Satan. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And Satan's army of demons possessing people. That's their job. That is their job. In fact, if you haven't seen the interview I did with the psychotherapist Jerry Marzinski, I did 3, I think, with him. Jerry is a psychotherapist, sorry, who works specifically with people with schizophrenia. You know, high-level schizophrenics, the type that do really, really nasty things and end up in high-security prisons in America. And he realized, he came to the same conclusions as me via a very different route, that these demons were real because all these schizophrenics are having a conversation with an invisible person. He got deterred by his peers and colleagues and superiors within the psychotherapy industry, saying that don't encourage their hallucinations. But he was convinced, and he was right, that they were having conversations with demons. And through that analysis, he himself had the demons communicate with him. And one of the things they said to him was, "Just leave us alone. This is our job. This is our livelihood. What are you doing? You're threatening our livelihood. Go away." You know, that's that's the truth. So remember who the war is really against. It's the spiritual war that we're in, and it's got nothing to do with the things. Don't get caught up in the wrong things. And ultimately, it's giving us these choices and giving us the choice really to go inside and connect with our Creator, right? Don't ask me who that is. I have many opinions about it. I use the word God because it's just shorthand, it's easy. And that reminds me, there's a lot of people leaving in comments saying, don't use words like bloody hell or good morning, or I don't actually say good morning, I say morning campers with an apostrophe at the end, or kids, or words like that. I understand that words are spells. I understand that cussing offends people. I understand all this stuff, but take ownership, because it's really about the intention. This is just a footnote to the video. It's, you know, we still have to be able to communicate with people in the world. So we have to use the words at our disposal. And, you know, I just think that saying grand rising makes you sound like a bit of a, you know, I don't want to say what it means. It's just, whatever, you know. We know that good morning means, you know, it's part of the death cult's spell casting. But I think if you take ownership over it and say words like kids with love, then you change the nature of it. And the fact that you know that these words are, you know, have spell casting power means that you can change the intention of them and take ownership of them. And that's also the same thing with talking about Jews and Muslims and everything else. It's like, well, you know, there's human beings here that we're dealing with, and uniting with, I don't know how it's going to happen, right? I honestly don't know exactly how it's going to happen, but it's definitely going to happen. We are going to be united as a species. Humanity will be united, and unity consciousness is a thing. But is it one love? I'm not sure, because actually we're all individuals within that consciousness. But we're working it out, and you're working it out. I'm working it out, and it's fun. Treat it as a game. Treat it as fun. I know there's people dying, Mark. Yeah, I know, but death isn't real. So try to keep chipper and doing all those positive things that you already know. If you watch my channel, you already know the positive things you're going to be doing. So yeah, thought for the day. See you later.